This week we talked about three topics. I think the main concept of this week was teaching food, regardless of whether that's teaching food in the classroom or in society, but that community of teaching food. So we there was three topics. One was the school of food, so there was like a cabbage project that we learned about. The other one was learning food in the classroom. So whether that's however that's incorporated, but incorporating food into the curriculum, which I found was really interesting. And then was the gardener's survey. So first was the activity sheet. So um our professor's daughter was doing a project about cabbage and how cabbage is useful, things like that, the vitamin K and things like that. Um, the most interesting thing that I found was that 1 square meter of growing space can produce 3 kilos of cabbage. I thought that was very interesting because it seems like it's very sustainable to grow cabbage, and there was a muffin with cabbage. Like cabbages, it seems like it's very easy to grow and it's very sustainable. So I found those were the most main takeaways from this activity sheet, which was very interesting. Um, Next was food and nutrition. So like the teaching food in the classroom. So there was a few. I think these four were my main ones. So for chemistry, for example, like cooking and measurements and things like that, which can also be applied to math. But for math, it was growing time or measuring out how long it takes for certain things to for certain vegetables and fruits to grow out, and then the area of where you need vegetables to grow, mapping out that as well. Human history was very interesting, finding out where food was grown in the past, cultural foods and things like that, how the trade routes and things like that. I felt like teaching food and those things where you don't really think of like chemistry and math, that kind of makes sense, but when you think of human history, there is a correlation between food, and I feel like that would be at least I would be more engaged. Like I don't really think I paid much attention in history, but now if you throw some apples in there, a persimmon or something, now you got my attention. And the last one was physical education. So obviously farming is hard work. I remember we recently like renovated our farm. That took that took some that took some work. So I feel like there are so many different ways that we can be incorporating food into the curriculum. It just takes that time. Um Next was the survey. So they took some households over 10-month period and they gave them a bunch of food. And then at the end of that, they had like um kind of not interventions in a sense, but like yeah, interventions in between where they talked to the people, got their opinions and things like that, and then asked them questions at the end. Um, I think like with this survey, I did agree that like I feel like there could have been more aspects to this where we could have found some like real information, and I feel like they didn't take all of the opportunity that they had to really gain some information and some knowledge from this survey. But I do think it was interesting, and I liked how at the they were able to teach other people. So it was like a full circle thing, which is kind of like a theme throughout this whole classroom was like how food can influence a community, and this survey kind of tied into that as well. Um, and then this TED Talk, I found this TED Talk really interesting. I think he was really funny. Um, he had like like few key points on our education system and why it was bad, and well, not bad, but it definitely needs some work. Um, and yeah, I I found it very interesting. Like for example with the curiosity, for example, and how children are very curious learners by nature, right? But takes a real teacher to spark that learning interest. And yeah, I found that very interesting. Um, so I was doing some research, obviously, about like to find something else, and I found like a curriculum based off of um teaching and incorporating food into learning. And there was a lot, like there was a lot of lessons that are already being incorporated into food. Like for example, there was one about calories and serving sizes with relating to food in like the curriculum. Like that was just one example, and they had so many more. And it was just like it was talking about the importance of teaching food, or at least just incorporating it into the curriculum. And I found that very interesting. I think it's a school, or it's just a way for teachers, like an outlet for teachers to incorporate this. But either way, I think the website, I think it's very important that we have these outlets for teachers and things like that. But yeah, um, yeah, thank you for watching. This is my last video. I hope you enjoyed. I will not be adding very loud music this time, but thank you for watching.